Well, it's a question that feels both very new and very old. Can a machine create something original? We see the images, we hear the music, a robot writing a poem, a computer painting a masterpiece. So it looks like art, it sounds like art, but is it? Is there a ghost in the machine, or is it just a clever mirror reflecting everything it's ever seen? This isn't just a technical question, it hits on something deep. It makes us wonder about our own creativity, about what makes us human. If a machine can do what we thought was uniquely ours, what does that leave us with? The conversation gets complicated fast. People have strong opinions. Some see a new renaissance, a tool that will change everything for the better. Others see the end of art, a soulless machine churning out fakes. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. And to find it, we first have to ask a harder question. What do we even mean by original? Let's talk about this for a minute, humans. Are we truly original? We like to think so. We celebrate the lone genius, the artist who has a vision no one else has, the musician who creates a sound that changes the world. But it's never that simple. No creator works in a vacuum. Every person who has ever made anything was standing on the shoulders of giants. They were a product of their time, their culture, their influences. The Beatles didn't invent rock and roll. They listened to Chuck Berry and Little Richard. They took American rhythm and blues and mixed it with British pop sensibilities. They added their own wit, their own harmonies, their own experiences of growing up in Liverpool. The result was something that felt completely new, but it was a remix, a brilliant, world-changing remix. Was it original? Of course, but it didn't come from nowhere. Shakespeare is another good example. We think of him as the pinnacle of originality, but he didn't make up most of his plots. He borrowed them from history, from older plays, from Italian myths. He took existing stories and retold them with such deep understanding of human nature, with such incredible language that they became his. He wasn't the first person to tell the story of a Danish prince seeking revenge. But he was the first person to make him Hamlet. This is true for all art. Writers learn to write by reading other writers. Painters go to museums and study the old masters. They learn the rules, they copy the techniques. And then, somewhere in that process, they find their own voice. They break the rules in a new way. They combine their influences with their own unique life experience. That's the key part. A lived experience. Our creativity isn't a magical lightning bolt from the sky, it's a slow cooker. Everything we've ever seen, heard, felt, or done goes into the pot. A painful breakup. The way the light looked on a specific afternoon, a conversation we overheard in a cafe, a political frustration, a deep quiet joy, all of these things simmer together. And when we create, we draw from that stew. The final product might look like a single new idea, but it's made of a million old pieces filtered through our own personal consciousness. Our originality comes from the unique way we connect the dots. The dots themselves are not new. So, when we talk about human originality, we're talking about a synthesis. It's about personal experience meeting cultural influence. It's about intention. An artist is trying to say something, they have a feeling or an idea they want to communicate. The art is the medium for that communication. It's a bridge from their mind to ours. So, the standard for human originality is not made from nothing. It's made from everything, but uniquely filtered and with a purpose. Now, let's look at the machine. How does an AI create? It's important to understand this in simple terms. It's not magic, it's math. A lot of math. Imagine you wanted to teach a computer what a cat looks like. You wouldn't describe it. You would show it millions of pictures of cats. All kinds of cats. Big cats, small cats, fluffy cats, sleeping cats, jumping cats. The AI analyzes these images. Bad. It doesn't see a cat like we do. It sees patterns in the data. It learns that certain arrangements of pixels, certain curves, certain textures are statistically associated with the label cat. After seeing millions of examples, it gets very, very good at recognizing these patterns. So good that you can ask it to generate a new picture of a cat. It doesn't copy one single picture it's seen. Instead, it creates a new set of pixels that fits the statistical pattern of cat that it has learned. It's like it has a perfect abstract idea of catness built from all the examples. It finds a new point in the massive map of all possible cat pictures. The same idea applies to text or music. A language model like the one I'm using to generate these words has read a huge portion of the internet. It has read books, articles, poems, comments. It hasn't understood them, it doesn't know what love or sadness feels like. But it has learned the statistical relationships between words. It knows that the word sad is often followed by words like cried, lost, or lonely. It knows that a sonnet has a certain structure. It is the ultimate pattern matching machine. Think of it like a blender, a human creator carefully selects ingredients, a little bit of early blues, a dash of personal heartbreak, a sprinkle of poetry they read last week. They mix it with care, tasting as they go, guided by their intent. An AI is a blender that has had nearly the entire world's grocery store dumped into it. It can blend those ingredients together in ways we've never seen before, but it has no taste. It has no idea what it's making. It's just following a mathematical recipe to produce something that statistically resembles the things it was trained on. It is interpolating. It's finding the space between what it already knows. It is not creating from a place of understanding or experience. It's a difference in process, a fundamental one. Now, can this process lead to something that feels original to us? Absolutely. This is where the argument gets interesting. There's a strong case to be made that AI can, in fact, be a source of originality. One way is through what's called combinatorial creativity. This is the idea of creating by mixing existing ideas in new ways. Humans do this, but AI can do it at a scale and speed we can't even imagine. A person might think to combine 2 or 3 styles. Let's make a chair in the style of a Gothic cathedral. An AI can combine 100. Generate a photorealistic image of a Stoic philosopher contemplating a glowing cheeseburger on Mars in the style of Rembrandt. The result is something no one has ever seen before. It's technically new, it might be absurd, or it might be strangely beautiful. It's a combination a human probably wouldn't have thought of, and even if they had, they wouldn't have been able to visualize it so instantly. This power to explore the adjacent possible, all the weird combinations just beyond our normal thinking, is a form of creative generation. It can break us out of our ruts. An artist stuck for an idea can use an AI as a brainstorming partner, a sort of creative slot machine. Pull the lever, get a new combination. Most will be useless, but one might spark a genuinely new idea in the artist's mind. In this sense, the AI isn't the creator, but a catalyst for human creation. Then there's the idea of emergent behavior. This is when a system starts doing things it wasn't explicitly programmed to do. Sometimes, in the complexity of these AI models, something unexpected happens. The most famous example of this wasn't in art, but in the game of Go. Google's AI, AlphaGo, was playing against the world champion, Lee Sedol. In the second game, AlphaGo made a move 37, that stunned everyone. Go commentators thought it was a mistake. It was a move that went against centuries of human strategy. It was a move no human player would have made, and it was brilliant. AlphaGo went on to win the game. Was move 37 original? Yes. It was a genuinely new and effective strategy that humans hadn't discovered. It came from an intelligence that thought about the game in a fundamentally different, non-human way. It wasn't riffing on human games, it was finding new patterns in the mathematical space of the game itself. We are seeing hints of this in creative fields too. AI might generate a musical chord progression that is unconventional, but works beautifully. It might create a color palette that breaks all the traditional rules of art theory, but is still stunning. It can find these novel solutions because it is not constrained by human habit, culture, or tradition. It just follows the math. So the case for AI originality rests here. It can produce novel combinations at an incredible scale. And it can sometimes discover genuinely new patterns and solutions that are outside the scope of human thought. The output is, in a very real sense, something that has never existed before. If that's our only definition of original, then the answer is yes. And AI can do it. But that feels incomplete. It's the other side of the argument that speaks to our intuition, to that nagging feeling that something is missing. This is the case against AI originality, and it all comes back to intent and experience. Art is not just about the final product, it's a human act. It's about having something to say. When Van Gogh painted Starry Night, he wasn't just arranging colors in a pleasing way. He was in an asylum, he was communicating his turbulent inner world, his sense of awe and terror at the vastness of the universe. We connect with that painting not just because it's beautiful, but because we feel the human emotion behind it. It's a message in a bottle from a specific person at a specific time, and AI cannot do this. It has no inner world, it has never felt loneliness, it has never looked at the night sky with wonder. It has never been in love. It can be prompted to create a painting of a starry night in the style of Van Gogh, and it will do an incredible job of mimicking the style. It will use the same swirling brushstrokes, the same color palette. The result might even be technically perfect. But it's an echo. A very sophisticated, beautiful echo, but an echo nonetheless. It is form without substance. It mimics the style of human emotion, but it doesn't contain it. This leads to the biggest problem: AI is fundamentally derivative. Its entire universe is the data it was trained on. It cannot create from a vacuum. It can only reconfigure what humans have already made. It can remix the Beatles and Chuck Berry. It cannot be Chuck Berry. It cannot invent rock and roll. Rock and roll wasn't just a new combination of musical notes, it was a social phenomenon. It came from a specific cultural moment, from youth rebellion, from changes in technology and society. It was a response to the world. An AI has no connection to the world. It doesn't live in a society. It doesn't experience cultural shifts. It can read about them, and it can learn the linguistic patterns associated with them. But it cannot feel them and respond with a new art form. If we stopped creating new art today and fed it all to an AI, it could generate new variations for 1,000 years. But it would never be able to create the next movement. It would never invent the AI equivalent of cubism or punk rock. Because those things are born from human beings reacting to their changing reality. There's also the uncomfortable issue of where the training data comes from. These models are trained on the work of millions of human artists, writers, and musicians, most of them without their permission. So when an AI generates an image in the style of a living artist, is that an original creation, or is it a high-tech form of plagiarism? The lines are incredibly blurry. It's not a direct copy, but it wouldn't exist without that artist's life's work being fed into the machine. This challenges our legal and ethical ideas of what originality even means. If the raw material is stolen, can the final product ever be truly pure? So we're left with a paradox. AI can generate things that are statistically unique and have never been seen before. But it does so without intent, without experience, and by drawing entirely from a well of human creativity. It can make a new thing, but it cannot have a new idea. It can generate a sad song, but it cannot feel sadness and decide to write a song about it. Maybe the question itself is the problem. Can an AI create something truly original? Is a yes or no question, and the world is rarely that simple. Perhaps we need to change how we think about originality in the first place. This technology forces us to. Maybe originality is not just in the product, but in the process. The human process is messy. It's full of struggle, doubt, happy accidents, and sudden insights. It's the journey of an idea from a vague feeling in someone's gut to a finished piece of work. That journey is where the meaning comes from. The AI process is different. It's clean. It's a calculation. A prompt goes in, an output comes out. It's incredibly efficient, but it lacks the human story. Maybe that story is a crucial part of what makes something original. We might need to shift our focus. The new frontier of creativity might not be the act of drawing or writing itself, but the act of asking the right questions. The skill becomes prompt engineering, crafting a prompt that can guide an AI to produce a specific, nuanced, and powerful image is a creative act in itself. It requires imagination, a deep vocabulary, and a clear vision. The AI becomes a collaborator, an incredibly powerful and strange paintbrush. The originality lies in the vision of the human who wields it. In this model, the human becomes a curator, a director. They might generate 100 images and discard 99. The one they select, the one they might touch up and present to the world, is the one that aligns with their unique vision. The act of selection, of curation, is where the human intent comes in. The AI provides the raw material, a sea of possibilities. The human finds the meaning. Is the final piece original? It's a hybrid. It's a partnership between a human mind and an alien one. This is probably where we're headed. AI won't replace human artists, but it will change what it means to be an artist. In the same way photography didn't replace painting, it just changed its job. Once a camera could capture a realistic image perfectly, painters were free to explore abstraction, emotion, and new ways of seeing. Photography took the job of pure representation, so painting could focus on interpretation. AI will do something similar. It will be able to produce technically proficient, stylistically perfect images, music, and text with ease. The market for generic corporate blog posts or simple stock photos might disappear. But this will force human creators to go deeper. If an AI can generate a pretty picture, the human artist has to create a picture that means something. If an AI can write a competent story, the human writer has to write one that has a soul. The value will shift from technical skill to vision and voice. It will be less about can you draw well and more about do you have something to say. The why of creation will become more important than the how. The story behind the art, the lived experience that informed it, the unique perspective of the artist. These are things the machine can never replicate. And so they will become more valuable than ever. So can an AI create something truly original? My answer is no, not in the way that matters most to us. It can create novelty. It can create surprise. It can generate things that are formally new, but it cannot create from a place of lived experience and conscious intent. It cannot tell us what it feels like to be alive. That is still our job. The things AI makes can be beautiful, useful, and even inspiring. But they are artifacts from a different kind of intelligence, an intelligence that is vast and powerful, but ultimately empty. It is a mirror that reflects all of human culture back at us, but it has no face of its own. Originality, I think, is not just about being the first, it's about being the only. Only you have lived your life. Only you have your specific combination of memories, influences, and feelings. When you create something from that place, it is original in a way that no machine can ever be. It has your fingerprints all over it. Not the fingerprints of your hand, but the fingerprints of your soul. The challenge ahead is not to compete with AI in a race for technical perfection. That's a race we will lose. The challenge is to be more human, to dig deeper into our own experiences, to find our own unique voices, and to use these powerful new tools not as a replacement for our creativity, but as a way to amplify it, to explore it, and to push it in directions we never could have imagined on our own. The future of art is not human versus machine. It's human with machine, and what we create together might be more original than anything we've seen yet.